Hey everybody, this is Carson with Topical Productions, and welcome to another segment of The Other 99. Today we have a blue-black deck by Death by Forklift with Sygg River Cutthroat, or, if you will, Sygg the Ninja Cutthroat. This deck focuses on the ninja tribe that premiered in the Kamigawa block. Ninjas rely on the ninjutsu mechanic, which allows you to return an unblocked attacker to your hand and put a ninja card from your hand tapped and attacking. Although there are only 10 ninjas in the world of Magic, the theme of this deck is to have unblockable creatures sneak past your opponent's defenses and give you bonuses such as drawing cards, discarding hands, and all sorts of nifty tricks. This deck requires you to think about who you attack with, who you bounce back in order to use again, and finding the opportune moment for certain spells. The general for the deck is Sygg River Cutthroat. Losing 3 life is no big deal when you control unblockable creatures. While your opponents are hitting each other and your ninjas are sneaking in for damage, Sygg will be drawing you cards. Let's start off with the unblockable cards in the deck. Your ninjas are best when you use the ninjutsu mechanic and sneak in some damage to your opponents. Ink Fathom Infiltrator, one of the cheapest unblockable creatures, even if it can't block. Phantom Warrior, a simple unblockable creature. Death Cult Rogue. Most decks won't be packing rogue creatures, so essentially this is a color-friendly, unblockable creature. Soulsworn Spirit, an Azorius card that allows you to detain a creature an opponent controls. You can take advantage of this card by continually returning it to your hand and recasting it. Invisible Stalker, a hexproof unblockable creature that allows you to equip it or cipher stolen identity to it in order to attack your opponents and leave them wondering what hit them. Dimir Infiltrator. Besides being unblockable, this card allows you to search for a 2 converted mana cost card, such as Swiftfoot Boots or Lightning Greaves, to protect Sygg, or Demonic Tutor to search for something bigger. It can even search for Sygg if he's shuffled back into your deck. Creeping Tar Pit. Not only is it a dual land, but it's a 3/2 unblockable beater that your opponents are going to have a hard time getting rid of with their board wipes. There are other ways to get past your opponents besides unblockability. Distortion Strike, a cheap sorcery that enables your ninjas, grants you a +1/+0 bonus, and allows you to do it again next turn. Shadow Rift, essentially giving shadow to a creature is granting it unblockability. The plus is that you draw a card out of it. Nurok Invisimancer. Not only is he unblockable himself, but makes a target creature unblockable as well. Glaring Spotlight, a game ender that makes all of your creatures unblockable, and gives hexproof just to top it off. Whispersilk Cloak, a flavorful equipment that allows you to avoid your opponent's spells and creatures. Rogue's Passage, a land that provides a passage for your creatures to your opponent's life. Wonder, as long as there's an island on your side of the field, you want this card in your graveyard immediately to give all your creatures flying. Vila the Nightclad. This is an alternative general choice that grants all of your creatures pseudo-unblockability depending on your opponent's deck's colors. With this deck's focus on returning creatures back to your hand, this card provides a pinging bonus when it's out. Hugure the Steel Wind. One of the best ninjas in Magic. Not only can it make a ninja unblockable, but it searches for any ninja card in your deck. He would make a great general if it weren't for his color restriction. Drawing cards is an essential part of being a ninja because you need to get your tools and tricks. Ninja of the Deep Hours. One of the cheapest ninjutsu costs that allows you to draw cards when it connects. Baleful Strix. It immediately replaces itself, and it's a great card to bounce back to your hand with ninjutsu. Dimir Cutpurse and Shadow Mage Infiltrator. Lets you draw a card when you deal damage to an opponent. Shadow Mage Infiltrator makes this easier with Fear, and Dimir Cutpurse makes your opponent discard a card. Tandem Lookout. Another creature that rewards you with a card when it connects, but on the condition that it soul bonds with a buddy, even if that buddy is a ninja jumping from your hand to surprise your opponents. Mask of Riddles and Sleeper's Robe. 2 cards that give a creature fear and an opportunity to draw you a card. Sleeper's Robe is an aura, while Mask of Riddles is an equipment allowing multiple uses. Now for some removal cards. Obstacles will always get in a ninja's way, so here's a nifty set of ways to get rid of those obstacles. We'll begin with your opponent's threats outside of the battlefield. Okiba Gang Shinobi. No one wants to get hit with this creature when it's being flashed in, much less being taken completely by surprise because you might just be getting rid of their secret weapon. Skull Snatcher. With a cheap ninjutsu cost, this card gets rid of pesky graveyard cards. Most of the time, you'll need to remove obstacles on the battlefield. Mistblade Shinobi, a ninja with a cheap ninjutsu cost that allows you to bounce back any enormous or troublesome creatures. Capsize, returns target permanent with the upside of buyback. You can either keep bouncing your opponent's threats, or your ninjas for more devastation. Throat Slitter, a flavorfully named ninja that destroys a non-black creature that your opponent controls. Necrotal, a classic black creature. Take advantage of this card by continually bouncing it back in order for it to strike multiple creatures. Kiku Knight's Flower, a cheap-costed creature that essentially makes a creature fight itself. Tragic Slip, a cheap removal spell that if it's timed just perfectly, allows you to get rid of a big threat. When the battlefield gets too complicated, bounce your ninjas back to your hand and clear the board for a new start for you. Evacuation, an instant spell that allows you to return all creatures back to their owner's hand. Use this card either when your opponent controls some scary threats, or you simply need your ninjas to assemble back to your hand. Damnation, the black wrath of God that allows you to remove all threats from the board. Lucky for you, your ninjas will most likely be back in your hand before you cast the spell. Decree of Pain. Not only does it wipe the field, but it also draws you cards, and if you want to cast it earlier, you can just cycle it. Now for the copy and borrowing effects. Ninjas sometimes use their opponent's threats to their advantage. We'll start with the transformation jutsus. Sometimes making a copy of your opponent's best cards might become more than what they bargained for. Sakashima's Student. With a cheap ninjutsu cost and an amazing copying ability, it's hard to imagine that this ninja is still just a student. Shapesharer. Technically a ninja card with the ability to become a copy of any creature until your next turn for low cost. Clone and Phyrexian Metamorph. Two great copy creature cards. Phyrexian Metamorph has the additional ability of copying an artifact and being cast a turn earlier with Phyrexian mana. Rite of Replication. A copy spell with the option of making 5 copies instead of 1 for a little extra mana. Your opponent might have 1 creature, but you have 5. Simple arithmetic shows you why this card is awesome. Stolen Identity. If this card is ciphered onto the right creature, it can not only make multiple copies of creatures, but artifacts as well. Now on to the borrowing abilities. Sometimes depriving your opponent's cards is the best decision and exactly what a ninja would do. Silent Blade Oni, a demon ninja that, despite its heavy ninjutsu cost, allows you to cast cards from your opponent's hands for free. When in a format with really mana-intensive cards, this is an all-star ninja. Ink Eye's Servant of Oni. This particular ninja allows you to use your removal strategically, so you can later reanimate the creature that will give you the best advantage. Regeneration is just the cherry on top of this sundae of awesomeness. Thalicos Deceiver. With Shadow, this card is almost guaranteed to be unblockable and give you control of a creature. Master Thief. Take your opponent's artifacts and use them to your advantage. Bribery. Not only flavorful, but powerful. Taking any creature and making it join your ranks is too good not to consider. Blatant Thievery. Take the best permanent from each player, but think carefully because this card has the potential of making some enemies quickly. Stolen Goods. A fun card with random potential, but rewarding when used against an opponent who just put a good card on top of their deck with Sensei's Divining Top, or has the top of their deck revealed. Ninjas are weapon experts, and so there's an equipment suite to reflect that. Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots. These two cards are particularly important in protecting Sygg and granting you some early game bonuses. Helm of Cauldra. An equipment that lets you hit first, hit well, and hit fast. The trample ability can be very relevant when you need a ninja to get some damage through. Sword of Vengeance. Provides the same bonuses as Helm of Cauldra with the addition of Vigilance and a +2/+0 bonus. Sword of Feast and Famine, Sword of Fire and Ice, and Sword of War and Peace. 3 of the most powerful swords in Magic, whether you're untapping your lands, shocking to draw some cards, or gaining life while delivering some damage. The protection from 2 colors is also relevant, as they can protect your creatures while they sneak past your opponent's defenses. The abilities of these swords are almost guaranteed to trigger with all of your unblockable creatures. Saya the Shinobi, a flavorful card that attaches to your ninjas when they jump onto the battlefield. Umezawa Jite. Besides the amazing flavor and the variety that it provides, this card can continue its devastation even if it's unequipped from your creatures. Now for some miscellaneous support cards. Soul Ring and Thran Dynamo. Colorless mana acceleration allowing you to cast your ninjas sooner. Sensei's Divining Top. No deck featuring the Kamigawa block so heavily would be complete without one. Demonic Tutor. When spinning the top is not enough, you can fetch what you need when you need it. Bitter Blossom, an early game generator for 1/1 flying fairies that help you bring your ninjas out through ninjutsu. Phage the Untouchable. When all else fails, Phage is the go-to creature. Give her any evasion support and she will take your opponents out with 1 hit. Walker of the Secret Ways. The last ninja card in this deck, this ninja not only provides you information regarding which opponents to strike, but allows you to return your ninjas for another surprise attack. Now for the deck's lands. Caverner of Souls, Command Tower, Darkslick Shores, Darkwater Catacombs, Dimir Aqueduct, Dreadship Reef, Drowned Catacomb, Dwar Isle Refuge, River of Tears, Salt Marsh, Sunken Ruins, Tainted Isle, Underground River, Manamo School at Water's Edge, Reliquary Tower, High Market, Temple of the False God, Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, and 9 islands and 8 swamps. Now for the strengths and weaknesses of the deck. For its strengths, the deck has a variety of ways to sneak past your opponent's defenses. It generates a lot of card draw. It interacts with your opponents by copying or borrowing their cards. There's a lot of potential for reusing your enter the battlefield effects. For its weaknesses, it doesn't really have a lot of big or strong creatures. It relies on being very strategic and careful with your decisions. Prevent damage cards like Fog can disrupt your strategy. No reanimation strategies from your graveyard. You should play this deck if you like playing flavorful themes and lesser known creature types, you like drawing cards in various ways, you like attacking directly and disregarding threats, you like to be sneaky and strategic to a new level with every play you make, or you just simply love ninjas. Sygg really allows you to go wild with the ninja theme, and if you enjoy getting value from combat, this deck would definitely be perfect for you. Thanks to Death by Forklift for sharing his deck with us. For next time, vote on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter for either Baron Master Wizard, Barrels the Scar Striped, or Grimgrin Corpseborn. I'm Carson with Topical Productions, and as always, thanks for watching another installment of The Other 99.